Good morning. Got a particularly enthusiastic bird outside the window. Must have got on the young boys last night. Conveniently shut up, of course, as soon as I mention him. These were yesterday's plays. A degree of caution with the cup. Given Chelsea had the unenviable ability, or the enviable ability, to field a completely new first 11 for their league football and for the European fixtures. They did put out a very strong side against Newcastle, but it's obviously not a priority for Chelsea. Keep your liability low. 2-0 up for Newcastle, I think, was a good entry point, given that strong-looking Chelsea lineup. Juventus against Parma, little disappointing that Juventus couldn't make this 3-2. This is the negative aspect of the happy dilemma. You saw the positive aspect at the weekend where we got two of them paying out over £100 because we waited for the end. You could have got out with a break-even-ish, particularly if you averaged up. So don't panic. Like Lorient yesterday, a 1-2 to Parma was unexpected, but I didn't panic, Mr. Mannering. I topped up Juve again at better odds, slightly better odds from 1.93, which I initially backed them at, 2.72 at 1-2. Parma layable at lower odds. They were at 4s. They're now at 2.9. So we've got a little bit more out of the market. But what happens when you average? Your liabilities increase. So if our base is £40, and usually the loss on the draw will be about 12. So take the hit if you're going to average up and it doesn't come off. You could have made a green at 2-2. Celtic Dundee, fascinating play this one. I was looking for some value as the second half began, with Celtic absolutely dominating and hitting that all-important 100 plus on the attacking pressure index. That's the positive benefit you'll get buying an in-play stats feed rather than relying on the free versions. You get these extra bonuses, which are really clever equations to tell you the incidences of concerted pressure. That came. The only value I saw was 3.6 in the over 2.5 goal market, with the distinct impression of getting out at the single goal. So let's have a look. So that's your profit at that expected goal, 23 quid, which for a £40 liability is very decent. And considering you've backed over 2.5 goals and you've only just got one goal in, very good. The reason we got good odds, we delayed. This was the second goal if you stayed in. And what you could have done here to give yourself a better chance of getting a bigger profit, wait for that to hit 0.00. Buy yourself time for a second Celtic goal or a second goal in the match. Of course, if Dundee score, you're almost guaranteed overs. So that was a nice green screen. Very good price, 3.6 for over 2.5 goal. On the cusp of scoring a goal as well. Atalanta was a simple lay the draw. They scored. Draw odds rise markedly. You could cash out if you wanted. I missed out an earlier opportunity with Venezia. They had yet another 2-2 against 10 men, as they did against Monza last week, but they didn't score that third goal against Monza. They did last night. So that was one I should have taken on. As well as an Inter Milan, I was umming and ahhing 0-2, 0-3 because of that red card for Empoli, but I didn't take action, which was a pity. Those are two profit makers who didn't come in. One which did, the young boys. If you went match odds, this is an option. I thought 1.9 was very reasonable. Young boys not been in the best of form, playing Basel, who were on a run of 3 consecutive wins. So that's why I was a little cautious, and I just stayed at +1, but it paid out very nicely. Derby-style match. So no surprise to see Ajax win or see any old result. That's what happens in these derby matches. But Feyenoord have had the better of Ajax in the last two head-to-heads. So I thought a lay of Ajax at 1.2 on a back of Feyenoord at 25. Perfectly reasonable. And you can look at the liability. Very low indeed. So those were the major plays yesterday. As you know, I missed out on the earlier ones, which was a pity. Both trades would have been profitable trades into Milan, and that Desmond Tutu ending for Venezia. On to today, and Fiorentina odds on away at Genoa. Genoa got 2 goals back against Bologna recently, but that was a pre-European Bologna. Roma against Torino. Still not got a strong handle on Roma, but I've done the research for members. Perry Como, Cesc Fabregas's Como, playing Lazio. Very strange odds, these. Maybe it's because Como are unbeaten recently at home, but Lazio are in pretty rock-solid form. 2.5 could be the score of the century. Don't be afraid to disagree with the market. There must be a reason why Como are strong or are not unfancied. Put it that way. When you've got 2.5, the favourite means they're not unfancied. But let's have a look. Few stats and matches for both teams. Just have a look at the recent form for Como at home. Well, they're unbeaten in the last 3 at home. They're unbeaten in all 3, scoring 2 goals on 2 occasions. But the question is, have they met any of the big guns yet? They have met Napoli, lost. They met Juventus, lost. They did beat Atalanta. Big shock result, this. A bit of luck required, a very late penalty. Sorry, no, that was for Atalanta, the late penalty. Own goal to make it 1-2. So a tad lucky there, but Lazio look a little bit more accomplished. They did lose against Udinese, as did Como. Did lose against Fiorentina, and did lose against Juventus, as did Como. But they're looking pretty solid. They got 3 goals against Torino, who Como have just beaten. And again, that was another market where Como were given a chance. So it's obvious the market fancies Cesc Fabregas to do something here, but both teams to score in all bar the last 2, suggesting I think Como are very gettable if leading. I would disagree with the market, but I would respect it. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a shock result there today based on the market. But based on seasonal form, Lazio look far more accomplished. You know what to do in the Dutch Cup. It's going to be goals, goals, goals. We saw, I think, yesterday's or the day before's huge amount of both teams to score. One of the matches, I think, had 10 goals, 11 goals in it. So we expect goals in the Netherlands, more so when there's a slight gap in the leagues, which you'll get from the Cup. Elsewhere today, it's predominantly the Cup, so there's very little I can add to it. I'm not totally enthused by these Cup competitions, but in-play stats will play a key role. We've got away with it so far when we've got involved in the Cup. The goals have arrived, but having said that, wasn't the case with Newcastle, was it? So extreme caution in the Cup. Don't worry, we've got the league football coming, but do worry because it's pre-Champions League again. So we're going to get those headaches, those teams who, on paper, will absolutely beat their opponent, but Manchester City 1, Southampton 0. That kind of a struggle we might see. Members, probably see you about 5:30 p.m. Don't think there's anything in England today. No. So 5:30, or if there's any earlier Cup football, I'll pass it on. Yeah, as you can see, throughout Polish Cup, I like Braga, but Guimara's been in a bit of form. They've been in Europe as well. Porto against Moreirense could be more standout there if you're interested in staying up till 9 p.m. Copa del Rey, got some big boys out today. Las Palmas, the Islanders. Let's see if that produces the goals we expect. Real Betis, 1.01, unbackable. First half goals, 2.5. Try that out for these two. And particularly if there's no goal after 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you're going to get about 7 or 8 to 1. And you're going to get a good run for your money if these odds are accurate. Malaga, Tenerife, well, Andorra, Real Oviedo, that's a more familiar name up there. Atletico Madrid, try that out for size. Espanyol, 1.02. So vast majority of the very strong favourites in Spain are away from home, and 4 of them are 1.02 or lower. Watch out at the end of these matches. I would be expecting 5 or 6 goals, be expecting possibility of 2 or 3 before half time. So watch out for that. Swiss Super League was very good yesterday. Young boys delivered. Servette, the odds-on favourite today at home. Turkish Cup's always been a difficult competition, but Batman's playing. That's what we want to see. The mighty Batman away at Edirnespor. That's a match for the ages. Batman playing today. Robin on the left back, and Michael Caine, the butler, he'll be in goal. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors. So I'll see you from about 5:30, or if there's any earlier football, I'll pass it on. But yesterday's calls, plenty of lessons learnt. That was the... Why did I get involved at 6.5 goals for Heracles? Well, they were 1.06 pre-match favourite. That suggests an avalanche of goals. 0-0 at half-time. They could still bring it home. They did win quite comfortably. So these were yesterday's plays. Keep your liability low when you're in the cup. That was the Juve to start the day, and the Ajax one as well. So this is all on Telegram for members. You get the screenshots. So you're left in no doubt about what to do. So that was the lay of Ajax 2-0 up because it was a cup match. That was insurance on Juve. So doubling up. This was at 1-2 to Parma. So that was not expected. But you average up if you've still got faith in Juve. And they have been scoring plenty of late. Lane Chelsea, 2-0 up. Why not? Sorry, Lane Newcastle, 2-0 up. Keep your liability low in the cup. Young boys, job done. Ruing not getting involved in the match odds because they were absolutely emphatic yesterday against Basel. And there's that first out in the Juve match. So if this doesn't greatly appeal to you, you always have that out, particularly when you average up and the match isn't going your way. So that could have been your out. You could have got rid of your liability here and here. Taken £8, probably a break even because you've taken insurance out, and just say it's not a going day for the old lady, is it? If you don't fancy that, if it ends 2-2, then you've got to do that. So your exit positions are always going to be individual, and I would highly encourage that. You've got to weigh up the amount of time left in the match, etc. There's the young boys, job done. That's the first goal. That's the first goal. So if you back +1, that's your first out. Because if it becomes 1-1 again, you're in trouble. So that's a reasonable return just for a single goal. The equaliser against Basel. Heracles, as I said, 1.06. So watch out for those 1.02 shots today in Spain. I would tend to go first half goals 2.5 and backing over 6.5 goals. As a trading vehicle, mostly. That's the Celtic match. That's the first goal, as you saw earlier. That's the second goal. Thankfully, I stayed in for the second goal, or because it was so late, I was falling asleep. And I had no choice but to get in for the second goal. The great thing about the in-play guru is it tells me when a goal has been scored, so I can be nodding off and it will shout out when a goal's been scored. So it's very useful. Have a great day. Predominantly cup today, so don't expect too much from me. You know, we excel in league football. Cautious if we do play in the cup. Hopefully we can dig out a trade or two today from the league football, but no promises. Have a great day.